First story is titled, Update. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to get a job? Original story. The title sounds bad, I know, but please wise people have read it, just hear me out. My boyfriend, 29 male, and I, 27 female, have been together for 3 years now, and we decided that it was time to live together. Some background information. He is an engineer working for a big company in my country, and I'm a writer. I also own 2 apartments in a very popular and nice area in the city where we live that I rent for extra income. They belong to my grandparents, and as the only grandchild, I inherited them when they died. Even though the pandemic hit my country hard, I did not experience any difficulties because my tenants have kept paying me rent. Therefore, my income hasn't changed at all. I'm not a millionaire by any means, but I can live comfortably just renting my properties. On to the main issue. We decided that I would move to my boyfriend's flat as it is bigger than the one I currently live in, and we agreed that we would go 50-50 on everything. Rent, utilities, groceries, etc. I would do more household chores than him since I work from home, but I had no problem with this, of course. However, my boyfriend is now saying that I should look for a real job because it would be unfair that you stay home all day doing nothing while I work. I'm currently working with my editor to finish the first novel in my series, which will consist of 3 books. So it's not like I do nothing all day. I refuse to do so because 1, I have a real job and an extra source of income, and 2, I can pay my share of the living costs without any problem. He insists that I'm being unreasonable. Am I the a-hole? Now let's read the top comments before the update. Not the a-hole. He sounds like a jerk. He is being one right now for sure. Is he always so dismissive of your work? Is there a long-term potential in a partner who has no respect for your vocation? Not the a-hole. He's never been like this. I don't know where this is coming from, honestly. Please, address this issue before moving in together. Otherwise, he's always going to throw it in your face that you stay home doing nothing all day as an excuse to get out of doing any chores at all. I will absolutely talk to him about this issue. I don't know if I should make an update post or just editing this one, in case you guys are interested in knowing what happens. Not the a-hole whatsoever. He is being extremely rude. Being a writer is a job. You also have a steady source of income. And you don't do nothing. You work hard. He's throwing a fit. Stand your ground and explain to him that writing is absolutely a real job. You absolutely do work. You're being very fair with the chores and money, and that you will not go get a different job. If he doesn't respect that, consider if this relationship is healthy or not. Thank you. I'm starting to reconsider this relationship. I'm honestly at loss for words right now, and it seems that this is the hill he's willing to die on. I'm going to have a long talk with him. Now for the update. So I posted this some days ago, and a lot of things have happened since then. Of course, I sat down with my boyfriend to talk about his sudden change of attitude towards my job as a writer, and I told him that it was very disrespectful to tell me that I have to get a real job when I already have one. I told him that I was considering ending the relationship too because of that. However, I also asked him if there was something that he wasn't telling me because this behavior was not normal at all. At first, he doubled down in saying that there was nothing that he wasn't telling me. But after insisting a bit more, he admitted that he was jealous of me. He said that he hates his job. This was quite a surprise, not gonna lie. And he resents seeing me so happy and fulfilled with mine. The fact that I have another source of income only makes his jealousy worse, because I'm pretty independent and can stop working whenever I want. His words, not mine. However, he said that he was willing to let me continue writing if I also work somewhere else, to make things fair. I was flabbergasted to say the least. So yeah, I broke up with him. It hurts, but I'll live. Maybe this will give me ideas of another novel. Thank you all for your advice and kind words. They have been really helpful. Now for some comments. Laughing my ass off. I'm so glad to read that you dumped him. Imagine being mad your significant other is happy and then straight up coming out and saying you are willing to let her go on with an activity that is both fulfilling and a source of income, as long as she made an effort to make herself more miserable. You don't need this kind of toxic, controlling BS in your life. Imagine admitting to all of this jealousy, and instead of realizing how childish and ridiculous he is after saying it out loud, you still double down on making your significant other miserable just so it is more fair. Good on you, OP. Godspeed. Yeah, literally his explicit, stated motive was that he wants OP to be miserable. Why would he expect anyone to stay with him? Anytime I hear that line, that they'll let you if, just hell no. Sweetie, you're not going to let me. You don't get to tell me what to do. OP, you may be hurting right now, but you saw a major red flag and instead of ignoring it, you ran. Good for you. Now go write and PM me when you have a book or an article for me to read. I couldn't agree more. In the beginning of our relationship, my boyfriend told me he was grateful that I would let him do what he likes, having poker nights with his friends. I too was flabbergasted. It says so much about his previous relationship, it nearly broke my heart. Seriously, who the hell feels entitled to dictate their significant other's life decisions? Who are these people think they are? Wow, let you keep writing. So long, OP's ex. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my dad his favorite Christmas memory is one of my least favorite? I need to hear from others on this. When I, 21 female, was 8, my mom died. 2 years later, he was married again. That first Christmas after he remarried, I asked my dad if we could spend a few hours Christmas Eve at the lake we used to go to every year with my mom, just the two of us. He said sure, but then brought his wife and her 2 kids along and we spent it together. I was so upset and mad, and it ruined intention of going. To have one last moment where I felt like it was just the 3 of us. Not really, but it brought a closeness when we went there just the 2 of us and I wanted it one last time. I always made it known. It wasn't what I wanted, and my dad knew I was mad. But he always talked about how that was one of his favorite Christmas memories because it brought back our first family Christmas. I always wondered if he was talking like that to try and convince me that I felt the same way, because he always ignored my feelings on it. Anyway, I was talking to him for a little while yesterday, and he brought up the memory again, and I asked him to stop. He told me he didn't know what I meant, and I told him the memory might have been his favorite Christmas memory, but I hated it, and I did not look back fondly on it. He asked me how I could hate the memory of the first Christmas we had as a family with his wife and her kids. I told him because I had wanted one last Christmas memory of just the 2 of us. I said even an hour would have been better, but he ruined it by including them. He said he thought I understood why they were included, and I said no. He just didn't want to accept that I was mad about it. He told me it was important to cement family bonds, and I told him if I could, I would gladly forget that memory. He got mad and told me I didn't need to try and shame him for loving that memory. I told him I just wanted him to stop bringing it up to me. He's demanding an apology, and he told me I am selfish for saying a memory was ruined because we included our family. I told him he would never understand, and I hung up on him. He messaged me after and told me he still wants the apology and for me to get over myself. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He's not listening to you. He understands your feelings, but doesn't want to deal with the possibility that he messed up. He actually owes you an apology. Jesus Christ. I am so mad for OP. OP, you are not the a-hole. Maybe AITA isn't a good sub to be browsing right after I wake up on Christmas Day. On the contrary, it's like the Stark words, winter is coming. And winter is the influx of a-hole hijinks that Christmas brings out in people. Not the a-hole. Mom here of a blended family. I made a mistake of doing something similar. I thought it would bring my kiddos joy to be included, and it didn't. At all. They were very upset. I didn't know how upset until years later. Eventually, they told me and I apologized for hurting them. His intent wasn't to hurt you, but that was the result. It took courage to tell him your perspective, and whether or not he sees it is perfectly okay to tell him that something he brings up repeatedly is painful to you. That's a healthy boundary you set. He should value how his actions and continued actions make you feel. Exactly. I can see how the misunderstanding may have happened, but the onus is on him to accept that it did. You are not the one being selfish. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. He didn't care about your feelings, only about his. He, as your father, had a duty to protect you and to try to understand you. These were really difficult times to you and he didn't care. He preferred to bring the new family instead of respecting your wishes and had quality time with his daughter. You have nothing to apologize. You asked him to stop bringing these memories to you and he didn't want. Then you explain to him why you don't like it, and he got mad instead of trying to understand your feelings. He is the one with the problem here, and the one who should apologize to you. You were a kid making a really difficult transition in your life, but he didn't care about it. Now, for the last story, am I the a-hole for calling my parents a-holes for what they did to my birthday? I, 21 female, was one of those kids who was born on Christmas Day, which I wouldn't have minded at all if my parents treated this normally. For example, my friend's boyfriend was also born on Christmas, and he said his parents would do his birthday in the morning and Christmas in the afternoon, and I wouldn't have minded that at all. However, my parents said it was greedy to have two celebrations on one day, so I had to choose between having Christmas with everyone else, my family and extended family, or have my birthday on Boxing Day and not take part in Christmas. I wouldn't have any presents or the chocolates and stuff everyone else would. I wasn't even allowed to help with the Christmas tree. This was pretty horrible. Either I had Christmas with everyone and wasn't even wished happy birthday, and because we wouldn't be at school, I never got happy birthdays from my friends, or I was completely left out during Christmas and had a birthday where everyone was still focused on Christmas. And if I chose birthday, my parents would tell my extended family I didn't want Christmas, and if I chose Christmas, they said I didn't want my birthday, so I didn't get both from my extended family. It made my childhood absolute hell and ruined holidays for me. My first Christmas/birthday away from home was probably the best day of my life. Well, because of COVID, my family were talking about doing a Zoom call for Christmas, and my mom said, well, I guess Opie gets to choose to be part of the Christmas call, or we call her on Boxing Day for her birthday. I don't know why, but I just blew up and called her a nahal and said they ruined my childhood. It's not like they couldn't afford it. My family's probably in the top 1% of the country money-wise, and even so, I could have still taken part in festivities and only had one present. But my brothers are calling me selfish, and my auntie says I need to apologize. And it's Christmas, so I feel like I should. Now, for the top comments. Not the a-hole. What were they thinking? What are they thinking? Why would anyone do that to their kid? Maybe I'm biased, but I'd never want my kid to feel like I did. Not the a-hole. Your family sucks. They really suck. Why talk to them still? I only really talk to them around holiday times like Easter, Christmas, people's birthdays, etc. I'm no longer at home and I live rather far away, so I just say I'm busy a lot. Not the a-hole. Your parents are a-holes. Happy birthday. Thank you. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you with the next one. Stay safe.